Good evening. Hiram's just putting her earrings on.
いや、そんなことじゃなくていいんだけど。
Show me your earrings. Oh,
やだ。
they're quite nice.
こんばんは。
Good evening, good
すい
evening.
ません、またギリギリになっちゃった。
Welcome to another fine edition of English Uplifts Thursday night banter and chat.
バントレンチャット。大丈夫かな？充電できてるよね。
Everything looks to be okay.
うんうん。
Looking good, feeling
こん
fine.
ばんは。
We hope technology is on our side this evening. We hope that you can see us and hear us loud and clearly. The chat box is alive and well, so go ahead and say hello.
うんうん。
Let us know how you are, where you are, who you are. This wonderful, wonderful spring Thursday evening.
無理やりなんか言ってる。
Golden Week. How was it?
皆さんどうでしたか？ゴールデンウィーク。なんか暗くきますね。
It is a little bit
Why?
yellowy. Are we yellow?
なんか変だな。
You changing your earrings?
そう関係ない。少し変わる？なんだろ
Not that light.
う？なんだろうな。なんか
Well, it'll be all right. I mean,
It's all right.
it's the program is all about content of what we say, not necessarily how we look. It's okay.
本当にいつもありがとうございます。
Thank you for joining us.
そう、この間もね、言われたんですよ。こうライブの時間は、なんか参加できなかったり、参加してるんだけど寝落ちしちゃったりっていう方もいたり、そうだね、いらっしゃるみたいなんだけど、もう後から必ず聞いてますって。ラジオみたいに聞いてるって言われてね。だから、見た目どうでもいいかって。
Yes, yes. Yeah.
うんうん。いや、ありがたいです、本当に。
How was your Golden Week? How was yours? We walked and walked
そうそう
and
そ
walked. We
う。
did a lot of walking. I've never walked that much. Well, I have
い
walked
や
that、
ある
much.
け
But
ど、久しぶりにいっぱいあるからね。
we walked a long way. We walked to Asakusa.
そうなんですよ。
From our
私た
place.
ち、中国に住んでるんですけど、中国のど真ん中あたりに住んでるんですけど、
We walked to Asakusa
Asakusaまで歩いたね。
along the Sumida River.
いや、歩けるね。
I mean, we can see Tokyo Sky Tree
うんうん。
from, not from our place, but you just walk down onto the street
まあ、
and
ちょ
look
っ
up
と見
and
れば見れるけど、
you
ね。
can see it.
うんうん、
And it's a fair distance away.
そうね。
But we actually kind of walked very close to it. Ah, Minori sensei.
私が座ると画面がゴールド。本当？なんか出てる？まあいいか。こんばんは。そうね。
Yeah. It was fun though. Weather was great. The kids loved it.
うんうん、楽しかったね。私たち歩くの大好きなんですよ。ちょっとお散歩っていうのがね、結構7キロ。
Must be your aura.
出てる。
I think it's the earrings.
そうか。
Yeah, so yeah, we do like walking.
うんうん。
I mean, I like riding my bicycle. I go everywhere by bicycle.
Yeah.
But as a family thing,
うんうん。
going for walks, taking a walk is good fun, isn't it? So we walked to Asakusa and we had tempura for lunch.
うん。
Asakusa to Ieba,
天ぷら。
tempura desu.
まあちょっと、近所っていうほどでもないけど、まあ歩いてね。
Mm.
まあそのぐらいかな。あとはちょっと川沿いで軽くピクニックランチみたいなね。
That was nice. We did that 2 days ago. The weather was fantastic.
でもなんかもうほら、出かけないでくださいっていうニュアンスがあるから、やっぱりもう結構
Well,
すぐ引いちゃったけどね。
Yeah, I mean, but as a family, it's all right. Yeah.
まあ皆さんどうでしたかね。なんかコロナもまだまだ、なんか、
It's been over a
延
year.
長しそうな感じだよね。緊急事態宣
I
言ね。
don't know. Is that right?
わかんない。なんかちょっと聞いた。うちね、テレビがないんですよ。私の家に。だから、もうネットからしか見てないんですけど。なんか、まあ大変なのは大変だけど、でも大変だって言うんじゃなくて、もう気をつけるしかないからね。やることはきちっとやりながら気をつけて
Yeah.
いけばいくしかないかなと。
Wear a mask.
うん、そうそうそうそう。
Wash your hands.
うんうん。そうですね。そんな感じですかね。いや、でもね、なんか、なんだかんだ忙しかった気がする。それで、今5期の先生たちもほら、もう半分まで終わっちゃったからね。いよいよ後半戦に入るんですけど、ゴールデンウィークもあるし、まあ、ちょっと、前回やったね、戦歌を見てない先生もいらっしゃったから、まあ、興味があればいいかなと思って、ちょっとね、今回特別に、うちの5期の先生だけに、戦歌の動画をもう一回リリースしたんですよ。そしたらさ、全員申し込んできちゃってさ、でリピートの先生で再受講した人ももう一回見るみたいな。ほんとすごいよね。この休み。ずっと勉強しかしてないんじゃないかなって思うぐらい。いや、なんか5期すごいね。今回先生たち。本当にびっくりしちゃう。
I hope people did find the time to do some relaxing.
Yeah.
That's what holidays are for.
そうそうそう。
It is important. Minori Sensei, did you find time to relax down in Hiroshima? Must be starting to get hot down there.
本当？広島今、どうなんですかね、天気ね。
Golden Week is actually one of my favorite holidays.
あ、そう。
Yeah. Weather-wise and just nice timing. I like the fact that it's different every year too.
Right.
You know, the combination of the days. I kind of like that.
なんかいろいろ考えることが多くて、あんまり頭休まんなかったな。
Really? I was able to because of the walking.
あ、ウォーキングの時はね。
Right? When we walked, it was really good because we enjoyed a barbie in our backyard.
最高ですね。
Right. As every Aussie would.
Yeah, barbie. Barbecue.
Minori sense is basically Australian.
Yeah.
Basically Australian.
なんかさ、カクカクしてない大丈夫？なんかおかしいかな？
Yeah, let us know if there's anything unclear.
Should be right.
Yeah. I brought my Wi-Fi in case we're using your house Wi-Fi. Which Wi-Fi are we? Okay. All right. If there's any problem with the Wi-Fi, yeah. All right. But if there's any problem, I've got mine. Yeah. Now, this evening's topic, by all means, we really, again, as usual with all our topics, we really would like your input, your ideas, your thoughts, your feelings, your agreements, your disagreement with us.
Right.
We were talking a while ago, and we were just commenting that we've been working together for how long? 20 years.
あ、そんななる？
あ、
19年？あ、いや、もう、いや。
18 years. 2002. 19 years because it's 2021 now.
そんなに一緒にいるとね。
Yeah. 早いね。
19年？
そう。
でもそりゃそうだ。私も公立で19年だよね。
そう。そっか。
早っ。
And we're just amazed at how much we agree.
Yeah.
And that we haven't really found anything to disagree on when it comes to education.
そうだね。
In 19 years of working together, we've never really had a disagreement about our work beliefs.
そうだね。
すごくない？
本当だよね。なんか、そうなのよ。なんかその話をちょっとしてたんだよね。意見が違うっ だからそれは絶対違う、それは絶対ないとか、そうじゃなくて、なんだろう。向いてる方向はずっと一緒だよね。
もう昔から変わってないよね。
変わってないね。
変わってないよ。For 19 years. If anything, we've gotten deeper. But the basic way we think has not changed in 19 years.
本当だね。インプルーブはしてるけどね。それに対して何かこう、そうなのよね。
What I think we've become is our thinking hasn't changed, but we've become quite good at describing it.
Right.
Because we've had to.
先生方にシェアするとなると、
そう。
今までこう言わなくても分かる部分とかさ、お互いにこうチャネリングしてるぐらいなんかもう分かってる部分があるけど、やっぱこれを伝えていくってことによってよりこうね、言語化していくことが必要だし、まあもともと結構好きな方だけど、言語化するのはね。どっちかっていうとこうふわっとしてるものをこういうことでしょって言ったらそれみたいな、ね。そう。私が言語化して納得するみたいなのが多かったけど。
The other day, 何年ぶりかな、Hiromi came to one of my classes and watched. And while she was watching, we just had to look at each other and we knew exactly what we were thinking.
Yeah.
ね。す
ぐわかるね。
わかるよね。
すぐわかるね。もうそんなにやってきてるんだね。
So, this evening's chat, this evening's topic, classroom discipline in the classroom.
そう。
Now, this came about, I brought the topic, I suggested this topic this evening to Hiromi because I had a rather interesting staff meeting and training, teacher development at my school, or the school where I work, with all the teachers. And it was very good.
Right.
And I noticed in that conversation, now we work in a preschool, we work with very young kids. And I noticed that when you're working with very young kids, teachers often, and I definitely noticed it in this meeting, are very often scared of the word discipline. They use it very nervously. They definitely don't like the word punishment. So the words punishment and discipline, they're very different. But they're used very carefully and nervously. Have you ever noticed that? Maybe you're a teacher who also feels that way, because it's very common when you're working with young kids. Me, I have no problem whatsoever with the word discipline.
Discipline ってこうしつけみたいなね、訳し方をするんだけど。
Okay, the word discipline in English kind of has a couple of different meanings, but one of them means self-control.
Right.
The discipline of waking up each morning early to do yoga.
Right.
The discipline of practicing kanji every day.
Right.
Yumi sensei, konbanwa.
Konbanwa.
There's that discipline. Then there's the
self-discipline な感じ。
そう。どっちかというと、getting into a good habit that is hard to keep. A good healthy habit that's hard to keep. This is called discipline.
Right.
And again, I think Minori Sensei's got a better way with words than I do. There's that one. And then there is the one where we use the word discipline to change. Right. To change inappropriate behavior in the classroom. Now, some people will jump to the word punishment, or they will view the word discipline as a form of punishment. And I totally disagree with that.
でなんか単にこう厳しいっていう、こうタイトな感じのイメージがあったりする人がいるかな。
I was talking about discipline with a colleague of mine. And the colleague pointed out that, yes, but the kids it's not good for the kids to see an angry adult.
そうに言ったんだ。
Yeah. And it's not good for the kid to experience adult control. But that's not what I meant by discipline.
なんかこう、コントロールしてて、要はその、親の言いなりにするようなイメージを持ってしまっているのかもね。しつけイコール、親の言うことを聞く。このパワーが来てる。
パワーが、
そう。なんていうかな。親のそのパワーで子供たちを動かすみたいなのをしつけだと思ってる場合があるってことかな。
Yeah, その、アダルトの都合で子供たちをストレスさせる。
Right.
But that's not what I ever intended by the word discipline. Or, you know, let me put it this way. Teachers are very uncomfortable when you say things like discipline's needed in the classroom.
なんかそう聞くとなんかこう厳しそう、怖そうみたいな。
そう。
先生がすごくもうコントロールして、
Right.
do this, do that みたいな感じで、もうビシッとね。
Right.
すごくこうストレートなイメージを持つんだろうね。
Right. Whereas, no, it's not really my image of the word discipline at all.
でも私もそういうのないよね。なんかほら、しつけっていう言葉がさ、調べるとほら、礼法とか作法とかさ、そういう、大丈夫？なんかついてる？
Is the stove on?
Is it?
I just heard a beep. Just checking our kitchen. What is it?
大丈夫。私のプリンター。
Oh, your printer. Okay.
すいません。年に立ったり座ったり。しつけっていう言葉がさ、いわゆるこう、作法だったり、なんかそういう礼法だったり、礼儀だったりっていうのもあるんだけど、なんとなく犬のしつけとかさ、なんかドッグトレインみたいなさ、なんかそういうイメージがあると、なんかちゃんとこう、飼い主の言うことを聞かせるみたいな、なんかそういう、こうやっぱパワーを感じるからネガティブに取られちゃうのかもしれないね。
How is everybody? Are you comfortable with somebody saying that discipline in the classroom is important? We've got a few teachers watching. I'm not sure. I think you can't access the chat box if you're using a smartphone. But if you're able to access the chat box, let us know.
ディシプリンに関してのイメージってこと？
Yeah, and are you comfortable with if a teacher, say for example, a teacher of your own children says that discipline in the classroom is very important, would you worry? どうかな？
これね、私こういろいろ考えてみたんだけどさ、しつけをする、そのディスプリンをするにはさ、やっぱルールがなきゃいけないと思うのよ。つまり、コンシステンシーがなきゃいけない。で、コンシステンシーがなくって、reasonable じゃないものは、ただエモーションの、なんていうのかな、なんか、エモーションを出してるだけみたいなさ。だどこにルールがどういうものなのかっていう、そのルールに基づいて、いいこと悪いこと。
Yeah. I personally seeing a teacher getting angry in the classroom and discipline as two very different things.
そう、angry じゃないよね。
No. If a teacher gets angry in the classroom, it's just, well, that's a teacher getting angry in the classroom.
そうそう
you know, but it's got.
angry
I don't think that's got much to do with discipline.
うん
You see,
うんうん、
so I don't see a link between them at all.
そうね。
Mm.
で、なんていうのかな。最近ね、養成講座の中とかでもよく話してるし、YouTube でも話してるんですけど、態度っていうさ、
姿勢だね。
そこがさ、ものすごく大事じゃない？
大事。
で、クラスルームの中での、先生と生徒の関係を見るとさ、先生がメインで子供がいて、子供たちをクラスマネジメントするみたいなことがあるんだけど、でも実際のレッスンを考えてみると、先生が話してたとしたら、生徒たちは聞き手なわけであって、話し手は聞き手の協力なくしてさ、話は伝わらないんだよね。
Sorry, I was thinking about something else. Can you say that again?
もういいやわ。そうそう。私、聞き手と話し手の責任とかいう話をよくするじゃない？
はいはい。お、ゆみ先生。
日本語でのしつけという意味での捉え方になりますが、悪い行いに対して叱ることは教育上必要だと思います。悪いことしたときに怒ること、叱ることは教育上必要だと思います。そうですね。そうそうそう。でね、クラスルームの中でさ、態度って話なんだけど、先生が話して話者だとしたら、生徒たちは聞き手なわけよ。
Right.
で、コミュニケーションを図るにはね、話者と聞き手の協力がないとコミュニケーション成り立たないわけよね。どんなに先生がいいこと言っても、相手が耳塞いでたら何も意味がないわけで。
Right.
ってなると、お互いの協力するっていうさ、
Right.
そこって絶対的に大切なんだよね。
That's right.
で、そう思うとさ、先生なんか言ってるみたいな、それは全然授業にならないわけじゃん。
Right.
で、より良い授業をするために何が必要かっていうと、お互いの態度なんだよね。
Exactly.
そう。で、この態度の育成が絶対大事だっていうのはもうずっと言われてきてるわけよ。
Right.
で、それは文科省で見てきてたよね。態度の育成、態度の育成って。で、その態度の育成っていうのがさ、態度の育成ってちょっと大きいじゃない？意味が。どういうことを態度というのかっていうところもちゃんと具体的にしないと、いわゆるこのプランもインプルーブメントもできないから、それはちゃんと考えなきゃいけないんだけど、生徒の態度の育成っていうのはめちゃくちゃ大事で、ちゃんと聞きなさいじゃダメなのよ。ね、ちゃんと聞きなさいっていうのはこっちの都合で。でも聞こうとかいうマナーだよね。例えば人が話をしてるのに、なんかこうやってよそ向いて足上げて、こっち向いてるのって、めちゃくちゃ失礼だと思うじゃない？だったら出てけよみたいな話で。
That's right.
なのでそういったところのしつけっていうのは絶対必要だと思うんだよね。
I agree.
うん。
Yeah.
態度よね。
Yeah. まずそれがないと話にならないと思う。To discipline a child sounds like punishment. However, discipline in the classroom is just things being orderly.
なるほどね。
To discipline a child, yes, the image is basically sometimes people will use the word discipline so that they don't have to use the word punish. Because punish a child sounds too unreasonable.
Right.
Whereas the discipline a child sounds the same as punishment, but it was for a good reason. But I'm going to use the word discipline in a way that leads on from what Hirumi was describing. Discipline is necessary to help the creation of a good attitude.
そう。そうね。
Because the attitude to listen,
right.
the attitude to speak,
right.
Is the most important part of early communication experience, and it has to be there in place from a very early age.
うん。そう。特に小さい子ね。
And especially in the classroom.
うん。
Because for many kids, especially preschool age kids, the classroom is their first place to be social.
うんうん。
Maybe they've been at home for a couple of years and their preschool is their first place that they can be in a group.
Right. うん。
Now, in a group, there need to be rules because otherwise things don't function, or as Minori Sensei used the word, things don't become orderly.
うん。つまりここに社会ができてるからね。
That's right.
そう、社会のルールみたいなのって
That's
絶対
right.
あるわけ。
The classroom is a mini society.
Right, right, exactly.
And societies have rules.
そうそうそう。
Now, I have observed classrooms that place a lot of importance on freedom,
うん。
on the child's freedom.
うん。
Now, I'm all for freedom,
うん。賛成は賛成よね。うん。
but under a condition of understanding the rules.
そう。その自由は、
No rules and
ル
freedom,
ール
I
が
think is
あっての自由だからね。
I think can lead to all sorts of problems.
Right. そうそう。で、自由なことってとても大事だけど、よく言うじゃない？なんか自由とわがままが一緒になっちゃってるよみたいな。
Mm.
うん。自由は大事だし、自分で選択するってことは大事なんだけど、でもそれもやっぱり、じゃあ何でも好きなようにしていいかっていうとそうではなくって、やっぱりこう社会で生きていく中では、外に出ての社会でもなくし、クラスルームの中の社会でもそうだけど、やっぱりマナーであったりとか、be nice であったりとか、ちゃんと挨拶をするとかさ、それはディスプリンにしなきゃいけないし、で、なんだっけな、これも話したことあったかな。これ小学校のね、話だったんだけど、子供たちが、インターナショナルスクールの子供たちとの、コミュニケーションをね、遊ぶような機会を、総学習の中であって、で、言葉は、なんかうまくいかないけど、ちょっとした時に、ありがとうって言いたかったのに言えなかった。たくさんの子は。でそれを聞いた時に、先生がありがとうって言おうと思ったことが素晴らしいよって言い方したのね。で私ね、それに対して反対だったの、実は。
言おうとしたことは、that was praised.
そう。
But they didn't say.
そう。だけど、言おうとしたことが素晴らしかったねって、今度言おうねっていう感じだったのよ。で、私はね、いや、今度言おうねじゃなくて、今言おうよなのよ。だって、いつ言うのじゃないありがとうが、だって、ありがとうがすぐ言えない英語教育してどうすんのって。Thank you, please とかがすぐに出ないような中でね、英語で What animal do you like ってだからなんだよと思ったんだよ。私からすると。それやろうよって。いや、本当に。そこはね、私結構言ったんだよね。それは私はちょっと違うと思うと。言おうとしたことは大事だよ。ただ、Thank you っていうことはどれぐらい難しい英語ですかっていう。難しくもなんともないじゃん。Thank you とか言っちゃうぐらい日本にあるのにね。それすらも言えないってどういうことっていう。
Yes.
黙ってたけどね、先生たち。
Yes.
だからその挨拶も特にいつも先生からハローしか言わなくて、ハローとか、How are you? って言って、I'm fine, thank you, and you ってこう、言われたら聞くけどみたいな挨拶の仕方。なんかネイティブの先生が子供たちに話しかけて、ハローって初めて挨拶するとか、もうおかしいでしょって。子供たちから先生が来たらハローって言うのが、私ディスプリンだと思うんだよ。ちゃんと挨拶しようよとか、ありがとうって言おうよって。でもそういうことをやらないでさ、なんか英語教育やろうとかしてるのってもうなんか最初から ダメだよねって思っちゃうんだよね。私厳しい？でも、そう思うんですよ。
当たり前。
うん。どんなに素晴らしい単語を覚えてようが、人としてよ。そういうことがちゃんとできなかったら、それはね、もう言いなさいって。今言いなさいって。でも、ね、自分の子供もそうじゃなかったですか？小さい時にもらったらありがとうって言うんだよって言わなかったらありがとうはありがとうって言うんだよって言うじゃん。
Yeah.
なのになんか英語になっちゃうとちょっとね、なんかいいよ無理しなくていけない。無理しなくて緩くなっちゃう。緩くなっちゃうんだね。これは、そう、小学校行った時もすごく思ったね。
Do you remember we were this is a while ago. We were having dinner with friends. And it was at the end of the dinner and we were about to leave. And then one of our daughters needed to go to the toilet. So she went to the toilet. And when she came back, you reminded her to say, "Omakase shimashita." Because that's manners. You've kept people waiting. You should say, "Omakase shimashita."
なんか小さいからしょうがないってダメだよね。私からすると。
And I,
わかんない。その厳しいかな、でも。
And it drives me crazy when I see parents who don't educate their kids in manners, thank yous and pleases and, you know, like omatase shimashita and stuff like that. If I'm with friends and we're kept waiting for some reason, I would like to hear omatase shimashita from whoever.
だってほら、帰ろうと思ってるのに、ちょっとトイレって言ったら待ってるわけだからさ、一言言った方がいいと思うね。でも結構ね、
そう。Am I being なんていう too conservative?
あるな。
どう？
でも私、あれよね、本当にちっちゃい時から言わせてたね、お待たせしましたっていう。ほら、おむつ替えたりしなきゃいけないけど、よくわからなくてもさ、お待たせしましたって、お待たせしましたって言わせてたけどね。でも言った方がいいよっていうのは何回もリマインドしてたし。
Now she's good though. She's really good.
うちだから挨拶とかすごいするもんね。
Right.
その子ね。ものすごい言ったからね。
Yeah.
そう。
I like it.
気持ちいいよね。
Yeah. It makes me very proud when we get into an elevator in our apartment and the kids say, おはようございます to whoever's.
そう。
こんにちは。
教えるチャンスですよね。インティニアに場面を見つけて、すかさず、そうでしょ？場面があったらすぐじゃない？
そう。
でそれって、厳しいって取られるかもしれないけど、でもディシプリンとして必要だと思うんだよね。だからやる。
Right.
だけどなんかね、そのしつけに関してね、この間なんかちょっと記事を読んだのよ。なんだっけな。しつけができない親がいるっていう。聞いたことある？
I think I think there was a time when parents also felt too that disciplining their child was not a good idea.
そう。
That it was wrong to get angry with the child, for example. But with child raising, that maybe comes into it. I think it was very different in the classroom. But yeah, the idea of disciplining the child was not popular for a couple of years.
なんかね、今たまたまちょっとググってみたんだけど、しつけができない親って書いてあって、しつけができない親イコールしつけを理解していない親って書いてある。
なるほど。いいですね。
でとにかく叱ることがしつけだと勘違いしている親は、自分の気分で子供に怒鳴ったり、気に入らないからという漠然とした理由で子供にきつい言葉を投げかけたりすると。あと、褒めることだけがしつけだと思ってる人いる。
Right.
そう。だから、良くないことを良くないと言わず、いいところだけを褒める。
Right. どうなんだろうな。
それもね、大事だと思うよ。大事だと思うけど、ダメなことはダメ。 っていうのは教えないと、なんかね、それで、なんだっけな。なんかちょっと面白いこと書いてあったんだよね。なんて書いてあったかな。しつけが何かってことをちゃんと理解しとかなきゃいけないですね。イメージじゃなくてさ。
Right. Discipline と anger を分けて
考
考
えればいい。
えればいい
そうそうそうそう。
だけ。Right.
なんかしつけとは、いいこと悪いことの両方を教えること。
いいと思うよ。
だからいいことばっかり褒めるんじゃなくて、これは良くないことだよっていうことも両方やらなきゃいけないっていうことなんね。
Right. in the classroom, discipline is totally needed.
ね
As long as it's presented fairly,
うんうん。
consistently and fairly,
Right.
and so that the kids can see
うんうん。
the results of their actions.
そうね。
Are you reading something here? What's that say?
あとね、子供に嫌われたくないから叱れない。これさ、子供に嫌われたくないから叱れないっていうのもあるんだって。
But we're not the kids' friends.
だから例えば、
We're not the kids' friends. We're their parents and we're their teachers.
うん。だから先生怖いって思われたくないとか、そういうふうに思い込んでるからできないっていうのがあるよね。
That's a good point though. And so you mustn't be a scary teacher.
うん。
But if you can present the situation to the kids
で、
in a way that is clear
うんうん。
that the
う
results
ん。
of the actions
Right.
or the results of the choices that they
うんうん
made
うんうんうん。
are not good results,
うん。
then it will be balanced
うんうん。
and you'll be seen to be fair.
Right. で、やっぱこう人間関係を円滑にするために間違っていても指摘せず、その場をやり過ごす癖がつく。まあ、いいよ、いいよ、いいよ。
Right.
みたいな。まあまあじゃないよっていうのがない。多分ね、わかんないけど。っていうのがあるらしいですね。うん。なるほど。でも、なんていうのかな、クラスの中で、別にプリスクールとかじゃなくても、普通の教室の中でも、なんか良くないなと思っても、まあいいかと思って、そのままレディッゴーしちゃうことがある先生って結構聞くよね。うん。でどういうふうに言っていいかわからない。なのに、宿題やってこなかったことに関してはすごく怒れるみたいな。
Right.
それちょっとそこ違うよね。
うん。
そう。でもしつけっていうこと、教室の中でのしつけっていうことが、すごくティーチャーセンターのようなイメージを持たれちゃうのはちょっと違うかなと思うよね。うん。フェアに見たときにどうかっていう、マナーとして見たときどうかとか、お友達が一生懸命聞いてるときにわーっと喋っているのはちょっと聞いてるお友達がいるから静かにしようよっていうのは当たり前でした。
So let's take a situation. Let's take a classroom situation and let's think about it. Can you imagine? Here is an issue that I think a lot of teachers have in common. Kids, for example, who don't listen. They don't listen to the teacher. They're not listening. Now, how can this problem be disciplined? How can this problem be fixed?
いい質問だね。聞かない。
Kids who don't listen. And I think all of us have some kids who don't listen. In the classroom, what do you do with kids who don't listen?
聞きなさいって
Yeah.
言っちゃうんだろうね。
聞いて、聞いて。
うん。
Listen.
Listen.
Sometimes, this is my take on it. Kids who don't listen, sometimes they don't know they're not listening.
それ気づいてないね。うん。
So you got to let them know. Excuse me, you're not listening. 言っちゃうな。
さあ、ってなったら聞いてなかったってわかるもんね。マジよく言うね。聞いてないよって。
I let them know. I let them know they're not listening. I also let them know that I know that they're not listening. You're not listening, and I know you're not listening.
そうだね。よくやってるよね。
The important thing is not that kids listen because you tell them to listen. That's not important. The important thing for kids to understand with listening is that they need to feel there is a disadvantage if they don't listen.
So,
they need to feel that, I wasn't listening. So now I don't know what to do.
I have a problem.
I have a problem. We need to make the teachers need to make the kids feel a problem as a result of them choosing not to listen.
So
Now it could be anything. When I love it when kids they weren't listening and suddenly they're like, what are we doing?
You're not listening.
Yeah. Or I often pick kids who I know are not listening and say, like, hey, hear me. Hey, big voice, please. And they're like, I'm like, oh, I'm sorry you weren't listening. Oh. I have fun. I have so much fun with kids that don't listen. It's pretty funny. Now, I had this situation the other day. I had said to the kids, all right, come and sit down. All right. So it was in a transition. I think we just finished cleaning up after free play. After the kids had played with the toys and we cleaned up. And so it was time for the afternoon activity. So I said, okay, get a chair and come and sit down, please. So 2 of the students decided not to get a chair and come and sit down. And they were still mucking around and playing around and doing a bit of running around. But the other students, of which there were 3 that day, the 3 other students got a chair and came and sat down. So they were listening. But the 2 others mucking around in the corner were not listening. So they didn't get a chair and they didn't come and sit down. So we started the activity. Just these 3 kids, no problem. And part of the activity was the kids had to get, those puzzles where you put, it looks like a tray with like holes in them, where you can put numbers.
Oh, right.
And you fit them in. You've got to find where the you're holding number 2 and you've got to look for number 2 on the board and stick it in. So we were doing that because my kids are very, very young. So there were 3 kids. The puzzle only had 10 numbers.
Right.
So I put the numbers on the floor and said, kids, go on, take 3 kids. All right, take 3 numbers each, any numbers. So the kids were, they'll sit back in their chairs. Like, okay, what do you have? Where do we put it? This kind of thing. Then the two kids came back.
Right.
And I think that the 10th number I think I had or something. And the kids came back and they looked and they went, number please, number please. And I said, well, I'm sorry. Your friends have the numbers. Number please, number please. I'm like, well, no, because you didn't get a chair. Oh, you didn't get a chair. I said, get a chair and come and sit down. But you weren't listening. And so now there's no numbers left. Oh, no, oh, no. So, and of course, one of them cried.
Yeah.
One of them cried, and I was so happy. I was happy because, you should have been listening. Now, and the good thing was, in that situation, it was very fair because there were 3 kids sitting down with numbers.
Right.
They were the proof.
Right.
I said it. They were listening. They got the numbers. They're doing this puzzle. You weren't listening. That was your choice. I did say it.
So that was your choice.
That was your choice.
大事なのね。
そう。
聞かないというチョイスをしたからこの結果が起こってるんであって、でこれをね、パニッシュメントじゃないのよ。ね。
No, it's the result of the choices that they made.
そこをね、ちゃんと間違えないでほしいなと思う。
Right. Now,
みんなが仲良くやらないとかわいそうとかなっちゃうない。そうじゃない。かわいそうかもしれないけど、そこはやっぱりちゃんとディスプリンとかレスポンシビリティとか自分の行動のチョイスの結果っていうのは、私は教えてあげる。そう、教えてあげた方がいいね。
絶対。Some teachers don't want the kids to cry.
そう。それよく聞くね。うちの講座来るときにすごくあるよね。子供泣かしちゃったって言って、すごい落ち込んでる先生とかいっぱいいるよね。で、焦っちゃってどうしていいかわかんないとかね。
Yeah. And they think, some teachers think, oh my God, if the kid cries, they're going to go home
and tell mom.
Mum's going to get on the phone. Right? So,
やばい。
I'm like, no, cry.
そう別にね、ほら、ガーッと怒鳴り散らして、怖がらせて泣かしてるわけじゃないからね。
No.
それが自分ができなかったことの悔しさで泣いてるかもしれないし、だったら泣いていいよね。
Yes, of course, of course.
次どうするっていうことだから。
Maybe she cried because she didn't think it was fair that she didn't get the numbers.
Right. そのケースで言うとね。
She didn't get the numbers. And I think she was sad. That's fair enough. You can be sad because you didn't get the numbers. But you also need to know why you didn't get the numbers.
そうね。
Because it wasn't like, let's not give any numbers to these 2 kids. Right? They are now enjoying the consequences of the actions that they took.
Right.
And I don't think there is nearly enough discipline for that purpose.
Right.
Discipline is for the purpose of having kids feel the consequences of the choices they make and the actions that they take and the words that they say. 絶対そうだと思う。
そうね。そうだからなんていうのかな、小さいうちから自分の行動に選択肢を持たせる、選択させるっていう。だからいいからこっちおいでよっていうのもいいのかなと思うんだよね。だからそういうふうに甘えたくって言ってる子もいるんだけどさ、先生に声かけてもらいたくて。だけど、 やっぱりこう主体的に育てるためのそのシードリングとしてさ、なんか
Yes.
先生が話してる時には、やっぱりまず聞くっ
Yes.
ていうことを、
Yes.
うん
And I should just clarify, because I just said before I was so happy about that. I should just clarify why I was happy about that in that situation. Was because those two kids in particular have trouble disciplining themselves to listen.
うんうん
I was happy that she cried. The boy didn't cry,
うん
but she cried. I was a bit happy about that. I wish the boy had also cried, because the problem with the boy not crying is that, in fact, he doesn't really care,
うん
and that's a problem.
どうでもいいっていう。
Right.
うん
Oh, did I miss out? Oh, well, it's all right. I had fun anyway. You know what I mean?
うんうん
So that's going to be a problem. But she cried meant that she did want to join,
うん
but she made the wrong choice.
Right.
So in that situation, what you don't want to do is then include the kids back into the activities simply because they came back.
うんうん
No, because if you do that, then they're not going to listen to you.
Right.
You've just rewarded them
Right.
for not listening to you.
うん
You might think, well, kawaiso. So, well, they came back, so now we can include them. No. The activity starts. The activity has a beginning and an end. Now, you're welcome not to. Well, I don't say this to the kids, obviously, but this is the attitude I take. You're welcome not to join. If you don't want to join this activity,
Fine.
no problem.
うん
But if that's the choice you make, please understand that you can't just jump in when you feel like it. Well, now I do want to join. Yeah,ちょっと待って. You see? And I've seen that. I've observed teachers do that. They'll start an activity when only some of the kids are listening. The rest are not. Then the kids who were not listening see, oh, that looks fun over there. I'll come and join the activity now. And that teacher's let them in. I would have never done that.
もうだから自由にっていう。
Right.
でね、それ思うんだけど、
Mm.
入れるときにさ、
Mm.
なんか自分が悪かったなっていう気持ちがあればいいと思うのよ。聞いてなかったことに対して。
Especially when, yeah.
うん。
Yeah.
まあ、小さい子はね、なんか聞いてなかったからごめんなさいっていうのは難しいかもしれないけど、でも
It's
そ
a
の、
classroom.
right、だからそこの気持ちで多分泣いたんだと思うんだよね。だからその、これをそのままどうでもいいやってなるとちょっと問題だって言ったのは、そうするとさ、全部自分の思い通りにやらないと、済まない子になっちゃうんだよね。すべて自分の思い通り。自分は我慢もしたくないし、ある意味自由で素敵なんだけどね、それはそれで。何ももう自分の価値観で、自分の判断だけで全てが、こう、やりのけちゃう。そうすると、何が起こるかっていうと、悪いことをしたときに謝らない子になるって聞いたことあるんだよ。悪いことしても自分は悪くない。あの人が悪い、この人が悪いっていう。で、謝れない子供ってかわいそうだと思うんだよね。そう。そこはあるね。まあ、先生方ね、どうしますかね。そう、泣かしちゃいけないっていうのはすごくわかるけど、でもそこがさ、やっぱり、ね。
Yeah. Now, I was also reading.
そこにね、でもそこにね、やっぱりこう、先生の、その、しつけに対してアンガーだったり、こう、感情的になるっていうことを置いとくためにも、その、しつけに当たるルールっていうかさ、ものはちゃんと先生が持ってなきゃいけないの。なんかこう、なんか先生のその、波があっちゃいけないよね。
What do you think of this sentence? Effective preschool behavior management. Effective preschool behavior management is the key to maintaining a peaceful and productive classroom community.
Right.
I agree to that. Do you agree?
No, そうだね。Absolutely.
One more time. Effective preschool behavior management. That's a nice word, isn't it? Behavior management is the key to maintaining a peaceful and productive classroom community.
Productive だよね。
Yeah. They go on to say, but when you're dealing with 20 or more children under the age of 5, this is easier said than done. Yes, it's true. It's kashiyo. This age group can have seemingly boundless energy and are all rapidly growing and learning all at different paces. True, 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 true. Anyway, effective preschool behavior management strategy comes down to a few key practices. Develop clear preschool behavior guidelines, etc., etc. But I liked the terminology behavior management.
Yeah, behavior management.
Yeah. And I just agree totally with that opening remark.
そうね。そう、さっき自己統制っていうふうに、井上先生書いてくださったけど、こう自分をコントロールする。ここではちゃんと座ってようとか、ここでは人の話を聞こうとか。
Yeah.
いうのは大事だよね。でそれってでもなんていうのかな。
Especially listening. I mean, that one I think is fairly easy to control, to manage. You just make the students feel at some disadvantage because they weren't listening. Now, you know those kids, they don't listen. And then they go, they know they've missed out something. And they go, one more time, please. I'm like, nah.
マッシュっぽいね、今のね。
Nah.
笑いながらでしょ。
So,
そうそうそうそう。
you weren't listening. I tell them it's not fair. It's not fair. I usually do this. Like, okay, I'll tell you one more time, but it's not fair. You can't not listen and then go, one more time. That's not fair. It's not fair to the kids who were listening.
そう、ね、後からほら、マシューのね、授業はあまり見たことない人もいると思うから言うけど、マシューはね、フェアかフェアじゃないか、ものすごい厳しい。そう。それはフェアじゃないって言ったら、本当にフェアじゃないって言うもんね。そう。
Yeah.
それはあるね。フェアに関してはマシューはすごく厳しいかな。
Yeah. So listening to people is an important part of fair behavior. Because if you don't listen to people, why do you expect people to listen to you? でしょ？
そうだ。協力だからね。
So the other day too, okay, this is quite a classic story. We went to the park. Now, in the preschool I work with, they have a bit of a listening problem. Okay, so we went to the park, and as soon as we go in this buggy, and as soon as you open the door to the buggy, when you're in the park, and the kids they start running away. Okay? And so you're trying to call them back. And they don't come back. So they don't come back. So we me and my teacher partner, so we're running around the park trying to catch these kids. And there's 6 of them. So it's hard work. And we get them all together like, sort of. Yeah. So I'm like, right, that's it. Meeting.
Yeah.
We're having a meeting. So we all sat down. And I said, that's it. You can't just run away. And if you hear your name, because we're calling after the kids. We're calling after them. Come back. And they're not coming back. They're all running in all directions. So when we finally got them back, totally out of breath, sweating, we said, that's it. If we call your name, you have to come back. If we call your name, you have to come back. And they're like, okay. I'm like, yeah, right. I said, fine, let's practice. So we did this activity. All they did was, one by one, I would send them running to a tree. I said, go to that tree over there. And they'd go, and then I'd call their names, and then they would turn and come back. That was so cute. And so we did it one by one. Your turn. Hey, off you go. Come back. Okay. And we did it.
Right.
And so now it's a game. All right. This game is called Come Back. So. But it's pretty cool. It's not too bad.
Yeah.
So then the other day we went to the park again. And they all ran away. And we called their names, and a few came back, but the same boy and the same girl. Those two, they did not come back. And they knew we were calling their names, and we were like, because we've done it before. This was the rule. And they can do it, but now they're choosing not to do it.
Right.
They're choosing not to do it. So me and my assistant, or not my assistant, my team teacher partner, we looked at each other and said, that's it. Let's go back. Park time's over. We're finishing park time. Right now, we're going back. We didn't want it to come across as punishment, but we wanted the kids to feel that this was the result of the actions that we can't have this. 危ない。
公園とかで
That's right.
いなくなっちゃったりしたよね。
Right. We had agreed that if we say your name, you've got to come back. And the kids weren't sticking to their side of the agreement, so it's not fair. So we have to go back. Got them all back into the buggy. Started going down. We're going back. The kids started singing. They didn't care. So then my team teacher were like,
what?
They don't care. So number. The wheels on the bus go round and round. Oh.
まあ。
めっちゃ面白いよ。
まあでも、ね。中にはそういう子もいるかもしれないけど。面白いね、でもね。
So we said, okay, tomorrow too. We're not going to the park tomorrow because they don't care now because they've already been to the park. But tomorrow, again, my team teaching partner and I, we discussed it. We said, that's it. We're not going to the park tomorrow. We'll tell them why. They didn't listen. So the next morning, it's a beautiful day. Me, good morning, everybody. Good morning, Matthew. It's a beautiful day. Look out the window. Beautiful day today. The kid's like, are we going to the park today? Nah. No way. They're like, why not? You didn't listen yesterday. Remember? So we didn't go. And that's when they realized, yeah.
Rules are rules.
Yeah, we didn't listen. I guess so. I guess that makes sense, not going to the park. Yeah. So we made them feel responsible for their or feel the consequences of the actions the next day. The following day, it was a beautiful day. We had every intention of going to the park.
Right.
But we started off when I said, oh, it's a beautiful day. The kids, are we going to the park? I said no. First, of course, we were going to go. But I said no. They said, why not? I said, because you weren't listening. We can't go. Right. And that's when I said, okay, but you have to listen. You have to come back when we call your name. Let's practice. And we did it like in the classrooms. So, yeah, and they were better at it that day. そうなんだ。
ちょっとずつね。
ちょっとずつね。Kids who don't listen. 面白いよね。
皆さんお気づきかと思うけど、マシュってもう子供だろうが、小学生だろう、ちっちゃい子だろうが、小学生だろうが、中学生だろうが、同じだよね。
Yes!
そう。
Yes!
そうそう、さっき話してたんだよね。たまたまね、ちょっと今日、他の先生がセッションする時間があって、小さい子供、幼稚園とかに教えておけば、ハイテンションでやらなきゃいけないと思ってた。だからすごい疲れるし、このまま年を取っていって、私これできるのかなって、すごく不安に思ってたんだけど、ハイテンションになる必要がありますかっていうのを YouTube で聞いて、そうだよなって思ったっていう話があってさ、子供だから盛り上げなきゃとか、子供だからこうしなきゃっていうふうに、気負っちゃう人は、そのままやった方がいいよね。ほら、もう大好きな人いるじゃん。テンション、もう子供大好きでテンション上がっちゃうって、それは別にいいのよ。だけど、もう無理してあげなきゃ。子供だからこうやってやってあげないと大変だって思うんだったらやめた方がいいっていう話でさ。
Just be yourself.
そう。で、
I think we've talked about this before.
そう、素直に be normal.
Be normal. You know those teachers, they're usually ALTs. And they're like, hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. You know, with the hand and that. あれなんだろうな。
落ち着いてってやつ。
Yeah, the teacher should calm down. What is that?
いきなりハイファイブみたいな。
Yeah.
怖いよ、だけどね。
Well, I don't know. Maybe high five is strange. But anyway, yeah, be yourself. Be yourself. Be normal.
そうそう、言ってたんだよね。なんか、先生ってほら、子供に嫌われたくないとか、嫌なイメージを持ってほしくないとか、やっぱ I love you の状態でいたいから、子供にちょっと言いたいことあるけど、まあ自分で我慢して、まあいいや、レリコーしとこうって思ってるにもかかわらず、子供が帰った後にすごいその子供の悪口を言うとか、あったりするよねって話をしてたんで、そういうですよねって。
So basically they talk about their kids behind their backs.
こんなに頑張ってやってんのにあいつらみたいなさ。
Right.
こんな汗だくにやって
Well, yeah. If you're not happy with something that your kids are doing, let them know.
I'm not happy with the situation っていうのを言っていいと思う、ね。
Let them know.
そう。なんかもっと素直になればいいよね。
If they're causing you stress, please let them know. I've done that quite a bit. This was with an afternoon class recently, the elementary school kids who are pretty good, pretty funny, good attitude with speaking and listening. They're not too bad. They're pretty good. So can't remember the situation, but I told them, they're like, are you okay? I'm like, stress. Of course, they all laugh.
Yeah. マシュ結構そういうの言うよね。
Straight.
ストレートだよね。
We finished this activity. The activity was, right, a kind of activity that you might want to try to instill the attitudes of speaking and listening is very simple, an information gap activity where everybody has important information.
Right.
But all the information is different. Everybody has one piece, but everybody needs all the pieces.
Right. Jigsaw.
Jigsaw みたいな。A jigsaw. That kind of activity is good because it means that everybody has to say something.
Right.
Everybody needs to listen to everybody else.
Right.
There's no level. Everybody is on an everyone has to cooperate and it's on an even playing field.
Right.
So the kids though, because I'm new to this particular school, the kids are new to me and I'm new to them. They weren't really used to doing this kind of activity. So it got off to a little bit of a slow start. But by the end, the kids knew what they were doing and they were asking, what do you have? What do you have? What do you have? And we finally finished it. And the kids were like, yeah, we finished it. And I was like, yeah, we finished it. I need a coffee.
Coffee.
The kids. And then they laughed.
まあだんだんこの子たちも12だコーヒーって出てくるだろうね。
So yeah, be totally normal. Be yourself. If you need a coffee, tell them, kids, I need a coffee. Kids, stop stressing me out. I used to work with a great assistant in my old school, and she used to love telling the kids, "Stop making me tired." いいね、それ。
言ってた？
Yeah.
面白いね。
And I picked that one up from her. Oh, yeah, that's a great thing to say. Don't make me tired. And so the kids,
なんか面白いことしたよね。そういえば。
Right. In the graduation ceremony, in my last, because we've just finished the graduation ceremony. It was on March the 31st. And they were talking about their favorite memories. There were like 6 or 7 graduates this year from my old place. And one of the kids' best memories was making Matthew tired. So that was his speech. My best memory is making Matthew tired. And he drew a picture. いいよね。
面白いね。
面白い。
面白いね。
そう。
でもなんかよくなんだっけ言ってたよね。I'm gonna make you tired.
Yeah, and so the kids were like, oh, it's
なんだっけ言ってたよね。
It's their favorite day was Friday.
Right.
Because it was the end of the week.
Right.
And a lot of the kids in the preschool that I was working at stayed for an extra hour and a half or 2 hours for an afternoon preschool lesson.
Right.
And of course, I was their teacher. And they used to say, oh, it's Friday. We can make Matthew tired. They'd say stuff like that.
これさ、すごい面白くない？だって6歳児の子に言われてるんだよね。ふざけてね。ふざけてるけど半分マジなんだよね。こう。
And they'll be like whispering to each other, Yeah, let's make Matthew tired today. Yeah. Make him tired.
何そのボンド。
そう。そうなんだよ。
かわいい。でもさ、そういう、どうですか先生方。そういう教室ってあるのかな
Well, I think honesty is very important.
でもそうそう。そうなのよね。やっぱり子供を子供として扱うんじゃなくて人として扱うっていうか、フェアにね。
そう。
子供でもちゃんとリスペクトもあるし、アドバイスもあるしさ。なんか、子供だからって子供扱いしないっていうのはマジすごくあるよね。うん。かわいいね。でも、グラジュエーションスピーチそうだったんだ。
そう。One of the kids.
嬉しかったでしょ。
Yeah, I guess. It was. I liked it because it was a very original idea.
Yeah.
面白かった。
面白いね。
And the picture was of me. Like you can imagine a 6-year-old drawing a tired Matthew. You know, like the eyes were like really big and like, you know, the mouth was like blue and like this, shaped like a big kidney bean. You know, with kind of glasses like corner kanji there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not because he intended to, but because he wasn't a very good, you know, 6-year-old drawing anyway. But it looked perfect. It looked like, yeah, that looks like a tired Matthew, you know. そうなんだよ。
面白いね。
ああ。
いや、でもまあちょっと置いといてさ。
置いといて。
態度の育成が全てだよね。
そう。
言ってたんだよね。
Yes. And it comes with healthy discipline that bring to the kids' attention the consequences of the actions that they took.
Right.
Because that's fair and that's tangible. They can see it.
Right. そうね。
And, you know, they need to feel it. That way you're not going to come across as being scary. You know, because I didn't do anything. I'm just letting you know what happened. I'm just reminding you of the choice that you made. You know, it's not punishment. The children were not punished for not listening by me not giving them the materials of the activity. The activity had started and the materials were gone.
そうね。なんか。
I'm really sorry, you know?
どういうふうに、さっき言ったようにさ、しつけを理解するっていうか、どういうことがしつけなのかとかさ、どういうふうに必要なのかっていうのは、やっぱり思っとかなきゃいけない。そこ先生の中でさ、こう、ディスプリンのポリシーじゃないけどさ、持っとかないといけないね。で、例えばマシューはほら、聞くことに対してはさ、すごくフォーカスを置いてるよね。まず聞く。だから聞かないことに関してはもうすごくそうやっていちいち、こう、聞かないチョイスをしたのからこういうふうになったのはあなたのせいだっていうことをすごくはっきり言うじゃん。
Yeah.
聞かなかったことを許さないじゃなくて、聞かなかったことに対する、自分の責任の取り方みたいな。
Yeah.
すごく言うじゃない。
Yeah.
だから今日あの子聞いてないからいいやっていうのないもんね。聞かなかったことに関しては聞かなきゃいけないんだよっていうことはもうやっぱりディスプリンとして必ず、レリコーしないよね。
Yeah. Kids who sometimes in the class are doing inappropriate behavior.
Right.
I don't tell them it's inappropriate. I go, oh, sorry, you're busy. So, if, you know, in an activity, like if you're giving out papers or whatever, but there's a child like, kind of like either wobbling on their seat or like, I'm like, here you are, oh, you're busy. And then they sit straight really quickly. So that's maybe another way to bring inappropriate behavior back to an appropriate behavior without showing upset without criticizing,
そうね。
right? Without harming their self-esteem. You've merely said, oh, you're busy. You're doing something that's got nothing to do with what you should be doing.
Right.
But you're doing something. So, all right, so you're busy.
Right. そこマジですごく面白いところはさ、もちろん obviously busy じゃないけど busy だっていうふうに僕には見えるよっていうことを教えてあげてるんだよね。
Right.
そう。だから自分のビヘイビアはこういうふうに見えてるよっていうことをマシューの口から言ってる。
Right.
だから、この子は別に I'm not busy って言うかもしれないけど、僕には busy に見えるよっていうことを教えてあげることが大事だよね。あなたはそのつもりはなくても、相手はそういうふうに見るよっていう。
That's right.
でも相手じゃなくて僕がそういうふうに見えてるよってことを教えてあげる。
That's right.
それすごく大事だよね。
Yes. And so, if you're busy, you're not ready for this activity, so you won't need a paper yet. And then they go, paper, please. And you're going, are you okay now? Are you ready? Are you ready? You see? Are you ready? Because a child that's like, whatever, they're not ready.
そこでもマシューの授業結構すごいよね。さっと出るよね。そこパッと言うのがうまいよね。こう子供に対してこういうふうに見てるよってことをストレートに言う。
Yeah. And again, what that makes them do is feel the consequences of the action that they took.
Right.
Other kids are sitting nicely and are ready for what's going to be presented to them next.
Right.
Or what they're going to be involved in next.
Right.
You need to be ready. You need to kids need to get their eyes and their ears ready for what's next. Now, I don't call that adult control.
No.
I call that the beginning of the next part of your education. You see?
だってその態度がなかったら授業が成り立たないからね。
Now, I'm all for freedom. I'm for freedom of choice. You can choose not to listen. Fine. You can choose not to be involved in this activity. Fine. You can choose to sit over there. You can choose to sit here. You can choose to sit anywhere you want and do anything you like, as long as it doesn't disturb other people.
Right.
Okay? It's your choice to not get involved and to not listen.
Right.
No problem. But there are consequences.
そうね。
There are consequences for the choices that you make. Now,
チョイスってさ、
it's not fair to bring in students together, students who are not listening, to bring them in with students who are listening and expect to be given the same treatment.
Right.
It's not fair. So, rather than telling them it's not fair, you just have them feel that, yeah, that's all right. You don't have to. If you don't want to. I'm not making you. That's the big difference when teachers would go, listen.
Otherwise, I'm not going to give you
That's right.
something. Then,
when teachers go, listen, then they are trying to force the kids to listen from this way.
Right.
But I very rarely do that. If anything, I want the kids to feel that they should listen. Because
自分で決めることだからね。
そうなんです。
自分でそのマネジメントっていうか、自分をコントロールするっていうか、マネジメントしてディスプレイするっていうことが大事だよね。
Right.
そうね。
Your choices are free, but you better please understand that there are consequences in the choices that you make. I mean, that's very simple.
このさ、チョイスの話ってさ、よくするじゃない？チョイスって大事だよね。だって全て本当は自分のチョイスによって今の人生が起きてるわけで、大人もね。
That's right.
誰かが言ったからとか、誰かのせいじゃなくて、自分が選んでるんだよね。
That's right. That's right.
自分が選んでるのに相手のせいにしたりするってね、それ違うんだよね。
そう。
もう絶対自分がそれを選んでるから。
そう。
なんかあいつが怒らせたってなって、怒るということを自分が決めてるから怒ってる、ね。
That's right.
そう。これね、なかなかちょっとこう通じにくいかもしれないけど、そうなんですよ。怒るとか悲しむとか笑うとかもそうなんだけど、自分で決めてる。
That's right.
うん、だからその反応によって感情が出るっていうのはしょうがないのね。感情によって反応が出るんだけど、その反応が出たものが出たから、もうそれで置いといて、イラッとしたり顔に出たりってことあると思う。それはそれでいいんですよ。でもその次は自分がチョイスできるんだってことを知ること、って思うとさ、小さい時からその自分のチョイスによってこういうことが起こる。自分のチョイスでこう切り開けるじゃないけど、チョイスがあなたにはチョイスがあるんだっていうことを教えるのって大事だよね。
そうそうそうそう。
この人がこうだから、お母さんがこう言ったからこうなんだ。じゃなくてさ。
Right.
なんていうのかな。自分で選んでいく。自分の選んだことによってその先が変わってくることを体験させるみたいな感じだね。
体験させる。
そうそうそうそう。言葉で言ったってわかんない、ね。
わかんない。
そういう意味では、そういうディシプリンってありがたいと思うよ、子供たち。なんか最初は。
Yes, but the only problem is that if they don't care.
だからもうさ、正直言って、まあわかんないよ、こう。多分親も自由にさせてる子、もうのびのびとしてればいいって、もう好きにしていいよって、ある意味そういうようになっちゃうと、もうマイウェイができてるから、自分の思い通りにならないと、もうイライラするから、もう人とかどうでもよくなっちゃうね。でそれってね、なかなか大変だよね。なんかね、皆さんもちょっと興味があったら、ちょっとね、ググってみると面白いと思うんですよ。しつけとか。結構ね、そのアティチュードについてね、最近すごく思うことがあったから、いろいろ調べてたんだけど、その。
Attitude だね。Well, attitude comes from experiencing it yourself.
そうなの。
You see?
そう。
Teachers cannot force you to have an attitude.
Right.
They cannot make you, you need this kind of attitude.
Right.
Attitude comes from the self.
Right.
So if you want to develop
a
positive attitude towards listening and speaking English,
you
have to have the kids feel the consequences of the choice that they made by when they chose not to listen. You see?
本当にさ、大事なんだよね。
大事。
なんかほら、listen what you think and speak の話をするじゃない？すごくシンプルなんだけど、本当にこれだけで子供たち変わってくるっていうのよ。だってさ、すぐわかんないとかさ、嫌だとか、いや、聞いてないもん。見てないもん。もう思い込みだけで反応してるからね。でもそこでちょっと落ち着いて聞いてごらん、落ち着いてよく見てごらんって、深呼吸してブレイスも入れようか。
Right. Well, this happened quite recently. One of our afternoon students told his mum that he's starting to not really enjoy English anymore and he wants to quit.
Right.
And that the mum had spoken to the school or something and then this information had come back to me. And I said, yes, well, that makes sense because he doesn't watch and he doesn't listen. There's no way you're going to enjoy it if you don't watch and don't listen. Yeah, you're not going to understand much if you don't watch and don't listen. He was saying that he can't understand the lesson. It's interesting because your classmates are all understanding the lesson because they're watching and listening. Big difference. Helps to watch, helps to listen.
まあいろんな子がいるからちょっと一概にも言えないけど、ただ聞くとか見るっていうことをせずにわからないっていう子に対して気を使ってしまう先生っていうのは良くないと思うの。
そうよ。
だからその子にはじゃあプライベートでちゃんと教えてあげるっていうのはもっと良くないと思う。ね。なんかね、ほら、もう講座でもすごく言うじゃない？結局、子供たちを預かれる期間っていうのは決まっててさ、何年かね。でも結構比較的長い期間預かるじゃない？英語講師とかって。 で、その中で何をしてあげなきゃいけないかって、英語力をつけるとかそういうのも、そうなんだけど、この子たちが教室を出てっても、やっていける子に育てなきゃいけないのね。グッドラーナーに育てる。グッドラーナーに育てる基本がなくて、英語のハウツーの知識だけ与えて、それ、この子社会に出てどうなのって思っちゃうんだよね。でそう思うと、
そうなんだよ。
すごくあるのよ。先生が気使ってもちゃんと。
かわいそうと思って。No. 子供たちかわいそうじゃないよ。They need to know the reality.
もう、すごく丁寧に、もうなんか問題があるとマンツーマンでもうフルサポートしてさ。で、そういう子たちってなんかわかろうと死ぬ前にわかんないって言って、カモンでしょ？それは、ちょっとね、違う、この情報社会が終わる中で情報すら取れないのかってなっちゃうわけで。
Look, Hirami, it's been 90 minutes now. We've been speaking for an hour and a half. I have no doubt that this topic and anything related to attitude will probably come up again. Attitude development. Is, as I mentioned at the beginning, probably the most important element of our lessons, or your lessons with your kids, our lessons with our kids. Because without the attitude, more hanashi naranai. And again, just as in review, attitude development comes from the experience that the kids have with the results of the choices that they make. So please don't be scared to have kids experience that and be firm with it, fair, but firm. Well, no. Yeah, fair but firm. And I feel that over time, the kids will get to trust you and say, well, yeah, that's fair enough. I was listening now and I got an advantage because I was listening and watching. You know, not good boy for watching and good girl for listening. No, you were watching and listening so you were able to participate and enjoy it and get something out of it.
その行動だよね。
そう。
行動と態度に対してだもんね。
そう。
めちゃくちゃ大事だよね。
大事。Shall we say good night?
なんかもう止まっちゃったけどみんな聞いてくれてるのかしら。
Well, hopefully.
ね。
Unless the people here are like
寝てるかもしれない。いつもね、遅くまでありがとうございます。好きなように喋らせてもらって。すみません。
もう何にもないね。いいよね。Thank you very much.
ちょっと長くなっちゃいましたけど。
Good night.
おやすみなさい。
公園どうしよう。それでね、we've been practicing with a rope for the first time. Yeah, because the buggy, they're getting older, they're getting heavier. No, we need to start walking to the park. So we got this rope. It's a pretty good rope. So we thought, well, we'll practice walking with the rope in the park. So we put them on the rope, match, put them in pairs. Like, you hold here, all right, let's start walking, let's go this way, come on, kids. And they were pretty good. They kept onto the rope and they kept walking. And we thought, oh, this is pretty good. They'll be all right with the rope. Hey, soon as I thought that, that moment came into my head, one of the kids saw like a dandelion, dropped the rope, ran over to the dandelion. All the kids dropped the rope. They all went over to the dandelion and that was the end of that. But then we realized, well, maybe the bus short is no good. You can't practice in the park.
Destructive.
Because the park is obviously a place where you can. So next time we have to maybe practice on the street itself. Good night.
Right.
Oh,
クラスのアニメに苦労して私にとってレッスンプランを立ていることと態度の育成を元にしっかり考えます。課題です。
おー、いい先生。
一緒に頑張りましょう。
Good night.